Namaste friends, my name is Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar. I am convener United Consciousness. United Consciousness is a global organization promoted by Project Self Incorporation USA and Bharat. Dear friends, some time back, one news shook the world. In the war zone of Syria, a 3-year-old child, badly wounded, was admitted to the hospital. Doctors could not save him, but before his death, that child looked at the doctor and said, "I am going to tell everything to the God." And the world really stood still. Every new child is a message of divine to us that the Creator is still not upset with us. But the mindset of division leads to struggles and leads to wars. The time has come that we should see oneness beyond these divisions, because we are already one in our worries for our kids. We are one and similar in our concerns for our family. We are one in our pursuit of happiness. We are one in our quest of peace. We are one in our struggle of avoiding pain. We are one in our concern for future. We are one in our consciousness. So dear friends, united consciousness is not the way, it is the only way to save humanity today. It is a way for a new world order. It is a way where united consciousness envisage a new world where education will bring forth the best in everybody. It will liberate people, where the focus of education will be life, not only livelihood. Where in schools, kids will be taught that happiness and peace is the dashboard of life. Where the language of superlatives and comparatives will not be used often. Where economics will talk more about gross domestic happiness rather than gross domestic product. Where war will be taught only in the books of history. Where stress and tension will remain only in the books of physics, not in humanity. Where depression will go back to find its place in the books of economics, not in human psychology. Where nations will be the units of economic development, social and ethnic upliftment, but not the boundaries of human freedom and human expression. Where we share this planet with other species, where we, instead of talking only on democracy, we will be talking on ecocracy, where we will incorporate all the plants, nature, animals, and give them their righteous place, their appropriate place in this planet, where even they are applauded and respected as a being on this planet. So dear friends, the time has come to choose, and there are two choices. One choice is united consciousness, and another is divisive catastrophe. Because we make choices, and finally choices make us. So let's choose wisely. Let's choose love. Let's choose togetherness. Let's choose united consciousness. In order to choose united consciousness and celebrate it, we are organizing on 11th, 12th, 18th and 19th of December a global spiritual fiesta, United Consciousness Conclave 2021. So let's together explore united consciousness with amazing speeches and panel discussion. Experience united consciousness through meditation and yoga, and express united consciousness through dance and music. Around 100 countries will be participating in some or the other delegates or representatives of around 100 countries will be there as spectators or participants in this global program. I welcome all of you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this beautiful journey of united consciousness. I would also like to thank Indian Council of Cultural Relationships to promote this event, to support this event world over. Thank you very much.
I'm very much delighted to welcome and introduce our next guest, Dr. Ramaswamy Balasubramaniam. He is a development scholar, author, public policy advocate, leadership trainer, known for his pioneering development work with rural and tribal people in Saragur and Hegara Devana Kote, taluks of Mysore in Karnataka, India. He founded the Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement, a development organization based in Saragur when he was 19. After spending 26 years in development working among rural and tribal people, he pursued academic degree in leadership, organizational development and public policy. He was the Frank H.T. Rhodes Professor at Cornell University between 12 to 2014 and continues to hold academic position in Cornell and other universities. His books Voices from the Grassroots and I the Citizen are compilations of narratives and reflections of development experts and are now globally acclaimed. He is also the founder of Chairman of Grassroots Research and Advocacy Movement. Inspired by the message of Swami Vivekananda, he sees his life's mission as building a resurgent India by inspiring leadership in the youth of the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Ramaswamy Balasubramaniam.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me here on this extraordinary occasion of looking at how all of us in reality are actually connected. And discussions of this nature help us to remind ourselves of this reality and just go beyond an intellectualization of this reality to experiencing it. I would actually like to speak a bit on how do you actually enable oneself to feel this consciousness that unites, to go beyond just mere words. And I would lean back on the scriptural wisdom of India, which was extremely well articulated more than 100 years ago by Swami Vivekananda and his different messages. So everything I'm going to share now is essentially drawn from the life and message and the teachings of Swami Vivekananda and his interpretation of Vedanta. And to me, I think he was the first person who so brilliantly articulated this experiential phase of consciousness in a very practical way. Because for him, religion or spirituality, if it did not really work towards making life in the world as we know it, in a vyavaharic plane as it's known in India, better, it's no spirituality at all. And he was possibly the first person who actually recognized and interpreted spirituality as something beyond just meditation or sitting in a cave in the Himalayas, but something more deeper, the deeper connect that he saw amongst human beings. So, excuse me. So, to me, how I understand it from the way I have interpreted it from his teachings as well as from the various Upanishads of the Indian scriptures, is that spirituality, by just looking at it from a very personal space, is a journey of inwardness. But then, if you just look at it and asking yourself how long one has to travel on this journey, there is no answer to it. Understanding what the destination is going to look like, we really don't know. But then, how do we make this journey a sort of an immersive learning experience on an everyday basis? And you need a practical way of doing it. It's very nice to talk to people and intellectually debate on this concept of oneness, etc. But then, what use is the debate if one doesn't even travel the journey of the experience? And this is where I think the beauty of the Indian thought, where spirituality is seen something as part of integral to society and the actions that bind each of us within the societal framework. And therefore, if you interpret it very deeply, Vedanta is not just about a deep dive within ourselves and trying to interpret our own inner makeup, whether it is the mental models or the spiritual understanding of our own selves or the space in which we try to reach out to our inner consciousness. But it's also an expression in the external world. It is as much about the appreciation of the external nature as we know it, and that's what sciences, the physical sciences, helps us to explore, as much as about the internal nature as we experience it. And the seamless continuity and the seamless integration of this understanding of internal nature as inseparable from the external nature is the beauty of, in Sri Aurobindo, in those words, he says even inanimate objects, so-called inanimate objects, he says seeing animated life in them and inseparably feeling the connect with them itself is an extraordinary process of experiencing spirituality. So to me, in a world where we are broken and polarized, in a world where we find reasons to divide ourselves rather than to integrate ourselves, how do you go take this message? How do you even tell people about this concept? Because it's simply unacceptable to a society which thrives on the status quo of separation. So I think this is where Vivekananda hit on this great idea in the late 1800s when he said the reality of experience of spirituality should be through opportunities of service we create for ourselves. And to me, that is a very powerful way of looking at it. So for him, there was no separation between understanding one's own divinity and celebrating this divinity through the appreciation of serving the divinity in the others around us. And so this the concept of service, he writes it so beautifully in a letter to the king of Mysore, who was very instrumental in enabling him to go to the US and other countries. He writes, he says, the vanities of life are transient. When you get immersed in the sensory understanding of external nature, we can get lost. And that is where he says the vanities of life are transient. But he alone lives, who lives for others. The rest are more dead than alive. So embedded in this message of the others and the service of who lives for others, giving ourselves the purpose of our existence, not just being for our own spiritual elevation, but for a life lived for the utility of others. And through that, recognizing one's own spiritual evolution is what is the power of the message in this understanding. And to me, the Advaitic appreciation of oneness comes from not separating yourself from the other during the act of service. So you make it practical, you make the expression of spirituality practical, you make the expression of this united consciousness itself practical, and not just leave it at in a space of discussion or debate, but get into it by actually making it utilitarian to society also, because society needs it. In a world being ravaged by COVID and all the other problems that mankind has created for itself, we need to have this consciousness not just amongst ourselves as people, but with nature, with inanimate objects, like Aurobindo says, with everything around us. Because this planet is as inseparable from our inside planet. And that understanding is what the Vedantic expression of spirituality teaches us. So to me, the very understanding of seva or service as expressed in the Indian thinking is an opportunity, a toolkit provided to us to enable this consciousness. So seva, if you look at it, it is different from to help. We use the word distinctly, service differently from help. Help is very transactional. I do something for you, and there is a sense of unspoken obligation which gets expressed as a thank you, or in some sense a feeling of, the person helped me and I need to return the favor. But in seva, if you look at it, seva is not about the other at all. Seva is about the opportunity presented to one where he is able to recognize the divinity in the other and serve that divinity. It is a prasad, an offering made to the divinity embedded in the other without a distinction of separation. And in that, it is very non-transactional. So service has been elevated to an extraordinary pursuit of spirituality and an opportunity to live this united consciousness. So to me, life is a journey of a continuous process of growth, evolution, and an opportunity for people to appreciate this integrated thinking, where we don't separate out everyday human existence and the challenges of life, health, disease, burden, economic problems, societal problems from spirituality. And that is the beauty of the Indian scriptural message, where you see it as though on one side our scriptures talk about the unrealness of all this, the maya, the illusory nature of all this. But you can't go tell a man who's suffering from disease or hungry that it's all an illusion. You need to create a space where you're able to address that problem and help that person transcend that problem to looking at something deeper. And for that, even the person, the doer and the done, the separation has to cannot be there. It has to be integrated. So it's so beautifully expressed. And I would like to quote again Swami Vivekananda in this. He talks about don't stand on a pedestal and say, "Here, my poor man, take my 5 cents." But consider yourself privileged that you have been given an opportunity to actually serve that person. So it is not about the man receiving your service, it's about the person who's being provided the opportunity to serve. And if it is done in the spirit of seva, where you see yourself inseparable from the divinity within the other person, I think this is real powerful expression of spirituality. To me, in conclusion, leadership itself is an opportunity for understanding ourselves, to dive deep within ourselves, and then look around us, look at the others around us, making a sincere, compassionate attempt to understand others around us, and constantly calibrate or explore the actions that binds the self to the others. And if these actions are non-transactional, if these actions are constructive and positive, if these actions are for the societal good and welfare, and if we are doing it not out of any expectation, not of any reward, like the Bhagavad Gita says, we just do it for the sake of action. And in that process of acting, we explore to seek out the divinity within us and the divinity that gets expressed in the other and the integrated oneness of both. I think that is united consciousness in action. So, what the world needs today are messages of this kind of conclaves, messages of these conclaves, which gives out this kind of practical tips to people and tells them that color cannot separate us, geography cannot separate us, intellectual ideologies cannot separate us, religion cannot separate us. For mankind is universal because divinity is universal, consciousness is universal. The same consciousness that prevails in me prevails in every one of us, and it's all integrated. Our inability to experience the unitedness of this consciousness cannot negate the presence of the consciousness itself. So we have to keep fine tuning our antennas. We have to keep evolving. And this evolution, this discovery, is what is spirituality. And service can be an extremely powerful way of reaching out for understanding this. And to me, that is Advaita in action. So Vivekananda, in conclusion, he says, the national ideals of India, he says, and I think it's for the world itself, not just India, should be Tyaga and Seva, that is renunciation and service. Renunciation is not just of the physical comforts or all the benefits that society can give us to consumer cultures, but renunciation is the renunciation of the very concept of I. Because when you surrender the I, you expand yourself and accept to be an instrument of this consciousness, an instrument of the divine that pervades in all of us. And when you come into that space of surrender, there is no separation. And to me, service is an entry point. And service can be very, very double-edged. We can't forget that too, because as we start serving, we start believing, oh, I'm making a great difference. I'm doing some wonderful work. I'm constantly working for, I look at my own life where I was carried away by what I did and I felt I must be doing some great things. That's why society appreciates me. I think when the moment that I comes in, renunciation has gone out of the window. So renunciation is the message Vivekananda gives to remind us that we are just instruments. The more we see ourselves as instruments of change, the more we see ourselves as integrated in this larger societal framework, the more spirituality spreads around the world. I think we'll be making this world a truly better place. And that is a consciousness we must all strive for. So I thank you all for inviting me, letting me share my thoughts, spending some time with all of you, and experiencing this oneness, even through the medium of virtual technology. Because I think, in a sense, technology actually gives us the experience of Maya, of illusion, as much as a sense of real or unreal, both. And I think the real feeling of oneness is Viveka. The sense of separation of you and I in all these divisions that we make, that is the Maya we need to fight. And together, I think we can create that space where we can all be blessed and part of this extraordinary divine cosmic dance that we are all integral part of. So thank you all and namaste.
Thank you. Thank you very much, respected Professor Balu. I'm so thrilled and so motivated listening to you, how you beautifully quoted practical Vedanta. And you mentioned that there are two steps. First is appreciate the divinity within myself, and then serve the divinity in others with its non separation Advaita. And you rightly quoted Vivekananda and Sri Aurobindo also in between. You differentiated between help is a transactional nature, but seva is an opportunity for me that I am able to see divinity in others and to serve. And you rightly define life as a growth opportunity for evolution and an opportunity to serve others also. Atma Mokshartham and Jagat Hitaya. You also indirectly defined yagya and five rinas, that doing service in a feeling of gratitude. Thank you for defining even tyaga, that I surrender my I-ness, and in seva I become only an instrument of change. And that will be practical spirituality, practical Vedanta, and it will really serve the society. And you called united consciousness and action. We will take your words as our guiding lessons in future. Thank you very much, Professor Balu, for
Thank you.
helping us and being us and blessing us. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Dr. Ramaswamy Balasubramaniam for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much. I feel honored in welcoming our next eminent guest, Dr. Ishwar Basavaradi. He is the director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, New Delhi, for the last 16 years. He is the head of Institute of Yoga Certification Board, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India since 2018. Project Director, WHOCC, Traditional Medicine Yoga. He has also worked as Advisor, Yoga and Naturopathy, Ministry of Ayush. He is the President of National Yoga Asana Sports Federation recognized body of Government of India and Senior Vice President of International Yoga Asana Sports Federation, Member Governing Council of Indian Yoga Association and many other government and non-government organizations. He has more than 32 years of experience in yoga education and training, therapy and research. He has completed 10 major research and development projects, published more than 12 research papers, 28 booklets, and 10 monographs. He traveled to many countries for promotion and development of yoga across the world. He was the master of ceremony, giving yoga instructions to more than 40,000 people, including Honorable Prime Minister of India, which went into create 2 Guinness Book of World Records. So please welcome Dr. Ishwar V. Basavaradi.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, pranams to you all. My esteemed friend and the organizer of this conference, Dr. Vikrant Tomarji, and all my organizing friends and yoga enthusiasts joining this webinar from different parts of the world. My pranams to you all. I am so happy to join this seminar. Last year also we joined. It's a well organized seminars without any hesitation. Always I used to join and share some of the experiences and views. I once again thank the organizers for organizing such an event, especially on the topics like spirituality. The second one is to invite me to again share my views. My thanks to you all. And now I'm second point to be happy that Many of the educational institutions, corporate sectors within India and abroad start talking about spirituality, which is misunderstood in many times. So yesterday also I was here in some Shuruni University whole day. We discussed about the science of spirituality, and today it's my privilege and on the topic spirituality and desires. First of all, I make the things very simple and more practical, not to make the spirituality a very complicated entity which could be understood only by the eminent scholars, which should be on papers but not to be practiced. Therefore, my humble request is to I will speak less but to the point. First of all, what is the purpose of life or objectives of life for people like you and me, the common people? So, if you see the major population of the entire world, and to live, they have to earn livelihood. That's the major thing. But if you see the very nature of any animal, there are four basic instincts to live: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna. So many times our life starts with this and ends with that. So is it the purpose of human life? This is the one always the question arises. So there is a hunger and thirst. There is a desire to sleep and rest. There is a once adolescent age comes, we have a desire for sex or kama in different formats. And there is always a fear of death ultimately. We are going to die. We are not eternal. So kindly see when you're talking about spirituality. So these are the basic instincts. So many people and like animal, we live and we die. So that is called animal life, who only live for the basic instinct to fulfill. But to human life has the highest goal. That's why Chaturthartha Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Ultimately, I had to realize my own nature and see the essence. That is called the evolution from the animal to the human being. And then once we born up human being, we have to rose to the Daivatva, the divinity which is within. So the very process of travel or the journey from the animal life, then ordinary life, to live like a human being and rose up to the divinity. The whole process is the spiritual journey. And it is a journey of finite to the infinite. So we are finite, but in the journey, in the when you cross and evolve ourselves to the different levels of existence, we never remain in the finite form. So we go on expanding, exploring, and expanding. Ultimately, it is divinity is infinity. So when the journey begins from the finite, from the micro at the cellular level, It roses to the macro, the maximum, the infinity. This is the one journey we have to understand. Therefore, who are living for that? That doesn't mean that one should not live for livelihood. So the basic instinct we have to fulfill, we have to live, but the very purpose of life is only for that, then human life is meaningless. It's the only thing I would like to say. Being saying that, I am also worried about my livelihood, ahara, nidra, etc. All these things has to be fulfilled. But many times our desires, craving for these things, becomes the obstacle. Therefore, journey for that. And what is the obstacle? Desire. So once we born, there is a ignorance. Patanjali says it's a kleshas, avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, binivesha, pancha kleshaha. And avidya is the root cause. And once we born, dukkha is following us as a shadow. It travels like a shadow. Therefore, to overcome the dukkha, so what is dukkha? Duality is dukkha. So, duality of mind, duality in life. So, I want to go or not? I want to do it or not? So, these are the questions which always bring us to problems, conflicts. Therefore, the solution is to become non dual. So, there is a duality of mind body, there is a duality in the left and right, and there is a duality in day and night. The life is full of dualities. Duality brings the dukkha, pain. So desire adds the fuel. So sometime the because the man is essentially spiritual. His essence is soul. The spirit is the essence of man, and spirituality is the core of his goal. Such a gap we cannot Anji. At least say only to manifest the divinity within, which is covered with different layers. Therefore, in my opinion, so there are four aspects of self to realize. So that is to be the self. The second one to once we born, we have to do the karma action to do how to do the action and to know the reason. What is the reason of our life? So viveka, nitya, nitya vastu, viveka, reasoning, taking a appropriate decision, and most importantly, the acceptance of life happenings. Many times we become emotional bond by our emotions, father, mother, etc. So the self says it's unique. So these are all the bondages, lively bondages. Therefore, self is free from all these bondages, the physical bondages, the body, mind, emotions, the worldly bondages, the friends, parents, students, most of the bondages. So self is free from all these bondages. Whenever we attach with that bondage, duality comes, that comes the buduk. That's the one thing. Then how to elevate it? The very purpose of life, I said, is to experience the my own self. That is the essence of human life. Therefore, to for that, what we have to do? First of all, in my opinion, I do follow five things. The most important is body is the many people in the spiritual journey ignore the body. No, as long as this body is there and our journey is going on. Therefore, so in the beginning, we need to channelize, detoxify the the malas, the toxins. So there is a process in yoga, detoxification process. It's not only the shatkarma, there are many detoxification processes. Detoxification, so that it is called ghata shuddhi. Ghata shuddhi, the body should be becoming toxic free. Detoxification, first process. I'm coming to the how to overcome the desire. The second one, when it comes to the body should be strong, healthy, channelization of energy. Therefore, it is the snayu shuddhi, alignment of the different organization, coordination. Then ultimately, it leads to the connection with the mind. Prana plays an important role. So the second one is mind-body coordination. So the duality is over. So once it is coordinated, we have to do the actions in life. How to do the actions without any fashion. Karmanye vadikarasya mahaphaleshu. Third aspect is everyone should do diligently the karma. Very, very important. So therefore, we have to do the karma selflessly. How to do that selflessly? Offering it to the God consciousness, the spiritual or the universal consciousness, the spirit. So that needs the unconditional love. The bhakti teaches that. Full devotion, complete devotion, but there is no condition. Many times we land in a problem that we put the condition in the beginning. Therefore, the fourth important aspect, it is the karma, bhakti, the unconditional love towards any human being, because every human being is a divine, potentially divine. Divinity is there in every human being, and a spiritual person always respect that every human being is a divine person. The God is nowhere and God is within. God is in every living being. Such type of unconditional love make us the third and fourth joined together. Karma and bhakti leads to viveka. What is that viveka? Nitya anitya vastu viveka. So we have a bahya prapancha, the material world, which is temporary. Then we go to the anthakarnas, mano buddhi ahankara chitta. It is antaranga. Then if you cross that, it is also part of prakriti. Then you cross that, then it is antaratma. I start feeling I am what I am. Therefore, these five processes, the detoxification, the body, the mind, the alignment of body and mind, coordination, then doing the karma diligently to become successful in the life, then offering it to the Lord, the love every human being, which gives us total transformation, the divinity within what I experience and what I learned during my small journey of life. This is how we can overcome the desires. Dhyayato vishayam pusah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama. Like this Gita says many things. This is the way how we have to understand the yoga text, Gita, and other aspects of life, so that we can overcome the dualities, we can overcome the instincts, overcome the desires to experience our true nature, which is within, that is the divinity. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, respected Dr. Ishwarji, for bringing in this discussion four Purusharthas and the method how from micro to macro we evolve. You mentioned about Ghat Shuddhi, Snayu Shuddhi, Bhakti, and Karma. It was so fulfilling talk. I'm sure that participants will be certainly benefited with it. Thank you very much for being here and blessing us. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Dr. Ishwar V. Basavardi for coming on to the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much, Dr. I'm extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, who is a well-recognized personality, Shri Narendra Singh Tomarji, a member of 17th Lok Sabha. He is the incumbent Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. He has been Minister of Rural Development, Minister of Panchayati Raj, Minister of Mines and Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Minister of Food Processing Industries in the Government of India. He has been given the additional charges as the Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Minister of Steel, Minister of Labour and Employment. He was born in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. He is graduated from Jivaji University. He is interested in organizing social, spiritual and cultural functions, and he has a special interest in helping poor, blood donation camps, plantation, sports and literature, as this is evident as he encourages artists, organize many poetic symposiums. He is also involved in many social and cultural activities. We are so honored to have Shri Narendra Singh Tomarji in this event. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our chief guest.
आज मैं यूनाइटेड कॉन्शियसनेस के ग्लोबल कन्वीनर डॉक्टर विक्रांत सिंह तोमर और प्रोजेक्ट सेल्फ यूएसए के डायरेक्टर श्री राजेश रविन्द्रनाथ जी को इस अच्छे कार्यक्रम के लिए बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। इस कार्यक्रम की सहयोगी संस्था आईसीसीआर भारत, यूरोपियन योग फेडरेशन, इटली योग लाम, रशिया योग विद्या, जर्मनी सिद्धाश्रम योग सेंटर, तुर्की, अफ्रीकन स्पेशल काउंसिल साउथ अफ्रीका, योग सिमो साउथ अमेरिका और ऑस्ट्रेलियन एसोसिएशन ऑफ योग थेरेपिस्ट ऑस्ट्रेलिया को भी मैं हृदयपूर्वक बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। रामकृष्ण, वेदव्यास, बुद्ध, महावीर, चाणक्य, आदि शंकर, नानक, कबीर, विवेकानंद, गांधी, अंबेडकर, मदर टेरेसा की इस धरती भारत की ओर से दुनिया से पधारे विद्वानों व प्रतिभागियों का मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं। आज मुझे हर्ष है प्रोजेक्ट सेल्फ भारत, यूएसए और यूनाइटेड कॉन्शियसनेस संस्था इस कोरोना व अमेरिकन जैसे वायरसों के काल में जहां मानवता अपने अस्तित्व से जूझती नजर आती है, ऐसे आयोजन कर आध्यात्म जीवन के गहरे प्रश्नों को सोचने के लिए प्रेरित करते हैं। इस तरह के आयोजन इस विपरीत काल में मानवता को प्रेरित भी करते हैं और पुनः उसमें उत्साह को भी, उमंग को भी स्थापित करते हैं। मुझे प्रसन्नता है यूनाइटेड कॉन्शियसनेस के तत्वाधान में आयोजित इस कॉन्क्लेव में एक ऐसे विश्व की परिकल्पना है जो नस्ल, जाति, रूढ़िवादिता, क्षेत्रवाद, लिंग, रंग, आर्थिक स्थिति, सोच व वर्ग के संकीर्ण दायरों से परे एक मानव, एक चेतना को देखता है। एकम सदम विप्रा बहुधा वदंती, एक ही सत्य है और विद्वान उसे अलग अलग नाम से पुकारते हैं। भारत ने दुनिया को सदा एकात्मता का संदेश दिया है। जब किसी ने रमन महेश्वरी से पूछा कि दूसरों से कैसे व्यवहार करें, तो उन्होंने उत्तर दिया, दूसरा कोई है ही नहीं। भारतीय अभिवादन नमस्ते का शाब्दिक अर्थ भी यही है। मैं अपने अहंकार को छोड़कर तेरे प्रेम से नमन करता हूँ, क्योंकि भले ही हम अलग अलग जाति, देश, वर्ण, रंग, लिंग से हों, लेकिन जीव के रूप में हम और आप एक ही हैं। यही भारतीयता का संदेश है। गीता में भगवान श्री कृष्ण कहते हैं, जो सभी भूतों में मुझे देखता है वही ज्ञानी है। न केवल मनुष्य अपितु जीव जंतु, नदी, पर्वत, प्रकृति, वायु, जल, अग्नि, अंतरिक्ष, सभी में परम को देखना ही भारतीय दर्शन है। जब तक दुनिया में दुख, दर्द, हिंसा, अपराध है, मानवा पूर्ण रूप से सुरक्षित नहीं है। आज इस मंच से मैं सभी का आह्वान करना चाहता हूं कि हम एक समान, न्यायपूर्ण, शांत, प्रसन्न विश्व के निर्माण के लिए आगे आएं। संकीर्णता, द्वेष, अज्ञान, अविद्या की दीवारों को गिरा दें। भारत में नवजात शिशु के कान में अहम ब्रह्म से कहा जाता है, ताकि वह स्वयं को परिभाषित करे, न कि संकीर्ण रूढ़िवादिता पहचान से खुद को जोड़े। महात्मा गांधी कहते थे, मैं अद्वैत में विश्वास करता हूँ। मुझे मानव की ही नहीं बल्कि प्राणी मात्र की अनिवार्यता, एकता में विश्वास है। इसलिए मेरा विश्वास है कि अगर एक आदमी को आध्यात्मिक लाभ मिलता है तो उसके साथ सारी दुनिया का लाभ होता है, और अगर एक आदमी का पतन होता है तो सीमा तक सारी दुनिया का पतन होता है। मुझे खुशी है कि यूनाइटेड कॉन्शियसनेस कॉन्क्लेव इसी सनातन सोच के आधुनिक समाज में पुनः स्थापित करने में भूमिका निभा रहा है, ताकि हम एक बेहतर, समृद्ध, प्रसन्न और समान विश्व की रचना कर सकें और अपने बच्चों को उससे बेहतर विश्व दें जैसा कि हमने पाया था। मुझे बताया गया है कि इस आयोजन में मानव जीवन के लगभग हर पहलू पर वैज्ञानिक व आध्यात्मिक चर्चा होगी। डर, फोबिया, मनोविकार, तनाव, वर्क लाइफ बैलेंसिंग, जीवन प्रबंधन आदि विषयों में सकारात्मक चर्चा आधुनिक समाज में प्रासंगिक है। मुझे बताया गया है कि 75 से अधिक देशों के विशेषज्ञ इस वैश्विक आयोजन में उपस्थित हैं। यह इसे वास्तव में एक वैश्विक रूप प्रदान करता है। मुझे विश्वास है कि इस आयोजन से एक आध्यात्मिक मशाल जलेगी, जिसकी रोशनी समूची मानवता को प्रेरित करेगी। यूनाइटेड कॉन्शियसनेस कॉन्क्लेव के आयोजकों, विद्वानों, प्रतिभागियों को मेरी ओर से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, और मैं प्रभु से कामना करता हूं कि आपका यह विमर्श सफल हो और सारी दुनिया को प्रेरित करने के काम आए। आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
थैंक यू वेरी मच रेस्पेक्टेड सर। वी आर सो ऑनर्ड कि इस आयोजन में आपने समय दिया एंड आपने सारी दुनिया को अपील की, जो भारतीय वेदांतिक दर्शन है, अद्वैत का दर्शन है, जो मानव मात्र में परमात्मा को देखता है। हमें पूरा विश्वास है कि आपकी ये अपील हम सभी लोगों तक उसी रूप में पहुंची होगी जिस रूप में आपने कहा है, और हम आपको विश्वास दिलाते हैं कि आपकी शुभकामनाओं के माध्यम से हम और इसी तरह से अच्छा कार्य करते रहेंगे और आपसे इसी तरह से आशीष लेते रहेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपकी प्रेजेंस से, आपके आशीर्वाद के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
We extend our heartfelt gratitude towards respected Shri Narendra Singh Tomar ji for his blessings. I am very honored and delighted to welcome our performance from the organization Play for Change. Play for Change is not only the organization, but it is a movement created to inspire and connect the world through music and break the boundaries. They reimagine a world connected by music to spread a global message of hope and unity. Playing for Change was born in 2002 as a shared vision between co-founder Mark Johnson and Whitney Kroenke. This musical journey resulted in the award-winning documentary, A Cinematic Discovery of Street Music. Today, Play for Change musical group is playing the song What a Wonderful World. And in the group we have African Children's Choir Uganda, French Children's Choir France, Grandpa Elliot USA, Hugo France, Jensen Tamba Congo, West Los Angeles Children's Choir USA.
Blessed days and the dark secret night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
Oh, yes.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Play for Change musical group for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and giving such a wonderful performances. Thank you so much.
Andrei Lobanov is one of the founders and leaders of the yoga community in Russia. Yoga master with a unique path and experience, who started his yoga practice and research in Soviet time when yoga and other oriental practices were forbidden. Andrei's school became the first official yoga school in USSR and Russia in 1983. He found a way to legalize yoga in Nizhny Novgorod region and played an important part in making yoga legal all over the country. In 1989, he founded the first yoga teachers training school in Russia, which in 2002 became the Academy of Traditional Systems of Healthcare and Human Development and got the license from Ministry of Education for yoga teachers training. He also was the first in Russia to work out yoga therapy educational courses, which were included in the curriculum in foremost medical higher education institutions. Vast experience in yoga, ancient and modern medicine, studying different philosophical and scientific systems enabled him to create a unique multi-level system called Yoga Lamp. It is based on the principles of classical yoga Patanjali, research of scientists, innovators, and original technologies and practices worked out by Andre himself. The object of Yoga Lamp is to help modern human to govern himself and his own life, to give him effective technologies for self-exploration, self-healing, and self-development, which make him free and independent from different manipulators, political, ideological, commercial, to develop ecological consciousness, which helps us to overcome ecological crisis and save the planet. Welcome, Andrewji.
Намасте.
Namaste, everyone.
Сердечно приветствую всех организаторов и участников этой конференции.
I cordially greet the organizers and participants of the United Consciousness Conclave.
Вами совершается важное дело для мира, дело по объединению людей.
You do an important work uniting people all over the world.
И хочу привнести свой вклад в это дело.
And I would like to make my contribution.
Я много лет провожу медитацию мира.
I have been conducting meditations for peace for many years.
Ее суть в том, чтобы остановить поток мыслей и чтобы ум пребывал в тишине и безмолвии.
The essence of this practice is to stop the flow of thoughts and to make mind to stay calm and silent.
И тогда сознание переходит на высшие планы, в единство с изначальной вселенским состоянием любви.
And then our consciousness moves to higher levels and unites with the primordial state of universal love.
Давайте вместе сделаем эту медитацию.
Let's do this meditation together.
Это короткая версия.
Now it will be a short version of this meditation.
Она начинается с медитативной асаны.
It starts with meditative posture.
Сядьте в удобную позу.
Sit in a comfortable pose.
Почувствуйте свое тело.
Feel your body.
Направьте внимание на ощущения, которые проявляются в контактных точках вашего тела и пола.
Direct your attention to sensations in points where your body touches the floor.
Это нижняя часть тела.
This is lower part of your body.
Ягодицы,
Buttocks,
таз,
pelvis,
бедра,
hips,
колени.
and knees.
Выровняйте положение тела.
Balance your pose.
Давление на пол справа и слева должны быть одинаковыми.
The pressure of your body on the floor should be the same on the right side and on the left side.
На этом основании выстраиваем вертикальную линию позвоночника.
On this basis, build up a vertical line of your spine.
Направляем активность внимания от крестца вверх до затылка.
Direct the activity of your attention from the sacrum up to the back of your head.
Почувствуйте глубокие мышцы спины, как мышечную резинку.
Feel deep spine muscles as a muscle gum.
Равномерно растянутые между двумя точками, затылком и основанием позвоночника.
Stretch them evenly between these 2 points, the back of your head and the basis of your spine.
Почувствуйте состояние мышц плечевого пояса.
Feel the state of your shoulder girdle muscles.
А если в них есть напряжение, снимите его,
If there is any tension there, relieve it.
растягивая намерением эти мышцы, микродвижениями направляя плечевые суставы в стороны с одинаковым усилием.
Stretch these muscles with your intention and micro movements to move your shoulder jumps in opposite directions.
Затем направьте активность по мышцам шеи до затылка, к макушке головы.
Then direct activity through the neck muscles to the back of your head and then to the top.
Выровняйте положение шеи движениями головы, направляя подбородок к основанию шеи.
Straighten your neck with light movements of your head and direct your chin to the bases of your neck.
Шея, грудной и поясничный отделы позвоночника должны быть на одной линии.
Neck, thoracic spine, and lumbar spine should make a straight line.
Расслабьтесь в этой позе, но удерживайте вертикальную линию позвоночника за счет активности глубоких мышц.
Stay relaxed in this pose, but keep activity of your spine by means of activity in deep spine muscles.
Направьте внимание на дыхание.
Direct your attention to breathing.
Соедините дыхание с вниманием.
Connect breathing with attention.
Направьте внимание и дыхание в пространство ума.
Direct your attention and breathing in the space of your mind.
Ощутите его состояние, заполненное мыслями и образами.
Feel its state filled with thoughts and images.
Со вдохом ощутите его состояние, заполненное мыслями и образами. Со вдохом разверните внимание по границам пространства ума.
With an inhale, expand your attention through the space of your mind to its borders.
А с выдохом отпустите все содержимое ума со звуком «ох».
And with an exhale, release all the content of your mind with a loud sound of.
Отпустите все и расслабьтесь.
Release and relax.
Сделайте серию таких вдохов и выдохов до состояния пустоты ума и его тишины.
Make a series of such inhales and exhales until you feel that your mind is calm and silent.
Направьте внимание на межбровье.
Direct your attention to interbrow.
Через эту точку со звуком «ом» погрузитесь в центр головы.
Through this point, with the sound Om, dive into the center of your head.
И активируйте его звуком «ом».
And activate it with this sound Om.
Затем произнесите в нем же звук «ми», разворачивая его в центре головы.
Then pronounce in this center the sound me, expanding it in the center of your head.
Произнесите звук Ра в центре основания шеи.
Pronounce sound Ra in the basis of your neck.
Ям в центре груди на уровне сердца.
And then Yam in the center of the chest on the heart's level.
И теперь повторяем эти звуки, проводя их вибрации и внимание по центрам тела.
And now we repeat these sounds, conducting their vibration and your attention through these three centers.
Три раза произносим вслух, 3 раза закрытым ртом и 3 раза мысленно.
We pronounce them 3 times aloud but with closed mouth, and then 3 times mentally.
И затем по сигналу хлопок погружаемся в безмолвие.
As you hear the clap of my hands, stop the practice and dive into silence.
Давайте сделаем эту серию все вместе.
Let's do all the series together.
Мысленно.
And now mentally.
наблюдая за дыханием, начинаем выходить из практики.
Watching your breathing come out of the practice.
Постепенно открываем глаза.
Gradually open your eyes.
Спасибо вам за участие.
Thank you for your participation.
Будьте здоровы.
Stay healthy.
Thank you, respected Andrew ji and dear Yulia. Thank you very much for being here with us and guided us through such an amazing meditation. I want to inform the whole world that Andrew ji has developed an amazing program which can help us to fight with corona and viruses like that. This program generates inner strength to that level that it can increase our immunity to a level that we can fight against such diseases. Very soon, United Consciousness, along with Yoga Lam, will provide this program to all of the people across the globe. Thank you very much, respected Andreji and Yulia. It was an amazing experience having you here. Namaste.
On behalf of United Consciousness team, we would like to thank Andreji for sharing his views and experiences in the journey of yoga.
देखो इन्हें ये है ओस की बूंदें पत्तों की गोद में आसमां से कूदे अंगड़ाई ले फिर करवट बदल कर नाजुक से मोती हंस दे फिसल कर खो न जाए तारे ज़मीं पर ये तो है सर्दी में धूप की किरणें उतरे जो आंगन को सुनहरा सा करने मन के अंधेरों को रोशन सा कर दे ठिठुरती हथेली की रंगत बदल दे खो न जाए तारे ज़मीं पर जैसे आँखों की डिबिया में निंदिया और निंदिया में मीठा सा सपना और सपने में मिल जाए फरिश्ता सा कोई जैसे रंगों भरी पिचकारी जैसे तितलियां फूलों की क्यारी जैसे बिना मतलब का प्यारा रिश्ता हो कोई ये तो आशा की लहर है ये तो उम्मीद की सहर है खुशियों की लहर है खो न जाए ये तारे ज़मीं पर
Akshara Kids Academy strives to shape the future of unprivileged and underprivileged kids having urge of learning. Kindly lend your hand too in this yajna. Spirituality has become a vehicle for better physical and mental health as it provides a sense of our purpose of life and allowance of expression of our personal pain, depression and anxiety. It develops the inner love and compassion. So through the panel discussion, let's discuss on the topic spirituality and mental health. In the panel, we also have with us Dr. Shishir Prasad, who is MS in Shailatantra and PG Diploma in Yoga. He is Associate Professor in Department of Shailatantra Uttarakhand Ayurveda University since 15 years. He is a member in Expert Committee on Marma Therapy, CCRAS, Government of India Panel Expert, and author of Ayush Introductory Curriculum Development for MBBS graduate for AIMS Rishikesh. Founder President of International Marma Science and Yoga Foundation. He is also a jury member in National Biomedical Research Competition by AIMS Rishikesh and PGI Chandigarh. He is invited as a faculty member in international conferences on wound healing. He is awarded with Best Paper Award by IEEE International Conference. He has his many national international publications. Our next panelist is Ms. Ayanok Choi Hantke. She has started yoga in 1996 after recovered her post-traumatic stress disorder in 2001, had established yoga into World Institute of Body and Mind. She is doing interdisciplinary research integrating communication, cultural studies, psychology and yoga therapy, aiming to resolve post-traumatic growth. She finished her PhD programs at School of Media, Songang University, Korea. She is founding member of Global Consortium on Yoga Therapy, Vice President of International Association of Integrated Therapy, and member of Asia Yoga Therapy Association. She has taught yoga therapy for the severely developed disabilities, mental disorders, prisoners, terminal cancer patients, the elderly with dementia and hemiplegia after strokes. In the panel, we have with us Mr. A.B. Sharif from Vietnam. Since last 10 years, he is serving as an area yoga manager at FLG Vietnam, a fitness giant with many locations in the country that transforms millions of people's lives. Previously, he worked as a yoga practitioner and healing therapist in Mumbai for a long 10 years, where he was transforming thousands of people's lives with yogic healing therapy, Ayurveda, naturopathy, etc. He is graduated in Bachelor of Arts and Advanced Studies in Yogic Science from Mumbai University. Our next panelist is Ms. Baltarain. She's a trainer, coach, speaker, therapist with over 18 years spent in education and training, coaching and healing. She's a certified professional trainer, certified hypnotherapist, certified NLP master coach, past life regression therapist, inner child therapist and a family constellation facilitator, certified points of view practitioner, finding her true calling to become the bridge between different worlds and cultures to touch souls by marrying spirit and matter. She has trained, coached, healed, inspired people to overcome their fears, awakening their inner strength, unleash their full potentials and transform themselves to become an authentic leader living every day in abundance, happiness, love and fulfillment. Belle is also a storyteller who combines meditation, music, movies, arts, photography, embodiment work, and interactive process to bring more awareness and opportunities for people to interact with life from an open heart and multidimensional perspective. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, Convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, respected
Namaste.
the world. I also welcome all the audience watching us from different parts of the world. Dear friends, today we are going to talk on a very important topic, and at the times of COVID and many such diseases. So that makes this discussion all the more important. I guess there is some humming noise at somebody's place. I request to keep the mic off, and when they will speak, they can switch it on. Perfect. Thank you very much. So we are going to talk about a very important topic related to mental health. And during the times of COVID, it becomes all the more important. Dear friends, mental health in many parts of the world was never been considered as a big problem. And even people used to resist and feel shy about sharing it with somebody. And if somebody needs to get consultation for it, people feel bad about it. So, first, let's try to understand what exactly is mental health. So, we have experts from different dimensions of life. We have Dr. Shishir, who works with Marma science. So, let me ask Dr. Shishir. My first question is, what is Marma for common layman's language? And second is, how is it connected with mental health? Over to you. And what is mental health? And please be very specific in answering so that we can ask the same question from other guests also. Please.
Okay. So regarding your last question first,
Yes.
what is mental health? Ayurveda says that sam dosha samagnishcha sam dhatu malakriya prasannatmendriya mana swasthitya vidhyate. So when Ayurveda is talking about health, they are talking about the equilibrium between the doshas, not only the sharirik as well as the manasik. And it is besides the equilibrium of dosha, we also need the equilibrium of dhatus, that is the tissue forming elements, and also the malakriya, that is the excretory functions. And then they're talking about the prasanna atmendriya mana. That means that there is a harmony between the inner consciousness, the sense organs, and when all of these unite together, then that is the definition of health. So mental health is not like separating from physical. It is an interrelation always, and one can lead to the other, as a, you can say, two parts of the same coin.
Mhm.
Now coming to your next question, that is the what is marmas. So Acharya Sushruta has defined marmas as तेष मर्माणि नाम मांस सिरा स्नायु अस्थि संधि सन्निपाताः तेषु स्वभाव एव प्राणाः तिष्ठन्ति. This means that marmas are a conglomeration of these tissue forming elements. That is, mans is muscular system, you can say. Sira is, you can say, vascular system. Mans snayu is ligaments and tendinous. Asthi is bony, and sandhi is joints. And by nature, prana, or the vital force, resides in these points. So marmas are considered as very, very sensitive energy points. And Sushruta has mentioned this in the context that you have to be very cautious, especially while performing surgeries, so as not to injure these important energy points. Even in yoga, where has been mentioned in Shandilya Upanishad that there is a kriya in yoga which is called as pratyahar. So they have mentioned ashtadash marma sthaneshu kramat dharanam punah. That means on the 18 marma sites, one should do the dharan kriya, meditate, and then
Mhm.
energize that those
Okay.
18 points gradually to reach the higher consciousness. So this
Thank
is
you.
about marmas,
Okay.
and we are utilizing these marma points for therapeutic benefits. We have to understand the energy levels that is happening, changes in energy levels happening at these marma points to produce the therapeutic effects. Because
Thank you. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Prasad. As you mentioned that mental health or the health stands for the combination of mind, body, sense metrics, spirit metrics. And when I say somebody is healthy, it means completely aligned mind, body, sense. Everything is in harmony, as Dr. Prasad said. And he said that marma are those energy points that contributes in maintaining this harmony, and for that there are many meditation techniques also to stabilize it. Now we have uh, Miss Beltran also from Vietnam. We come to know that you have done lots of work in inner child. So what is the contribution of childhood experiences, leave alone whole life? I'm talking about maybe since conception till first 5 years of the age. What is the contribution of this period in maintaining or dismantling the mental health? So question is very specific. If in minimum words I get answer from you, yes.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Vikran, for allowing me to be here. From my work, I have helped many people to actually go back to their inner child, to really know what happened in their childhood, because many things that they are dealing with their current life, for example anxiety, depression, and stress, and many mental disorder, including things that have manifested in their physical condition like illness, cancer. There are some, not all of them, but many of them have the root that stem from their inner child, and even when they are in the womb of the mother, because what we already understand, science has shown that only emotions that a child absorbing is just like a sponge when he or she was in the womb of the mother, or when they're very young, at a very young age, we absorb everything around us, including the emotions of the mother, of the father, of all the people that we live with, who who raise us. And especially if the mom is very happy when she's carrying the baby in her womb, then the baby can also feel that. But on the other hand, if she has a lot of issues in her life, if she goes through a lot of hardship emotionally, mentally, or even physically, some women, they get abused, or they have to get through a lot of hardship during the pregnancy, that create a lot of distorted thoughts and emotions, and that distorted thoughts might become like the thought of the child, and the child can feel all these emotions, deep wound that the mom feel, and yet he or she does not know where that thought came from, but it becomes something very negative for the child when she or he grows up. For example, if the mom thinks that, oh, my life is so bad, and I don't there is no one to help me, so only with that kind of thought during the pregnancy can create the can like create a misery for this child when he or she grows up, because the mental health is actually coming from the belief or the feeling, the emotions that the world is not safe, or I don't have any support, and my life is so hard. And with that thought, of course, this person will attract many situations that create very difficult. It's a very difficult
Thank
life.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Bell. And as Belji mentioned, that since the womb child is just like a sponge, it absorbs everything, whatever mother is feeling. And mother's feelings becomes the automatic thoughts of the child. Child
Yes.
even is not aware that from where the thought is coming. It may be automatic negative thoughts in a situation, or it may be automatic positive thoughts. A great message for everybody who's listening us, that when the lady conceives, everything what she's thinking is directly being absorbed.
Yes.
Not only this stage, some trauma may happen. We have eBay, who has been working with youth also, and still working with such a, community across the world, and in Vietnam too. There are many traumas people receive between their age group of 5 to 25, also maybe 5 to 15, teenage. In school there is lots of pressure, competitive pressure, comments from teachers, bullying. Many of these things also appear as a trauma for people, and they affect the mental health. I would like you, if you can throw some light on how during your upbringing, what all and how does it affect the mental health.
Thank you, Vikrant, and enlightened panelist. I'm very honored and privileged to be part of this panel. As I grew into a Muslim family, then when I'm moving to in search of this is all spirituality is it's person to person is varies. So whereas I was being seeking what is actually my religion taught me, and what is exactly the mass is following it. So for me to understand, it was not a easy steps as I'm being in a different faith, and understanding my surrounding was not easy. And because combining this two, the different nature of the philosophies around me, and when my upbringing was completely very traditionally, very religiously going on, and surrounding was completely opposite to me, and to understand it was very hard time I gone through, because everything taught me was very differently than the surrounding. So here personally I gone through this mental health issues. So the I'm not criticizing any religion or my religion is down or other religion is something is different, but I gone through those trauma as a child. To how do I can overcome this, the understanding the different philosophies, whether it is totally different, entirely different, or each person they have their own way of seeking the spiritual experiences. So that's where my search in life started. So slowly I tried to understand the different philosophies. I went to discuss with my gurujis. He was my teacher in my schools. And that's where I understand what is actually Vedic perspective. So that's attract me much. Then slowly I try to understand the other religious perspective. So either it's Christianity or Jainism, it is pretty much around in Karnataka. That's where I grown up.
Mhm.
So this is where I start to understand was the Vedic understanding was somewhere very convincing for me, because the way they rooted understanding about mind, for example, the yoga itself, the amount of research Sage Patanjali done on mind, even in a modern science, we can combine it and understand. Even ancient time, without using any tools and equipment in a modern days, we're using it. But in
Mhm.
ancient time, Patanjali is doing it
Yes,
very,
yes.
very excellently, that job.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibeji. As Ibeji mentioned, that when my concept and the things I see around, there is a gap, it
Yeah,
creates a dissonance in me.
exactly.
That how I see the world and probably how my father sees the world, even that is a difference. So when this difference comes, so it may, if it is negative, creates a trauma.
That's
Now
true.
the big question comes, and we have an expert who has been dealing with post-traumatic growth. So I will come to you, ONSG, with a question which may be simple for you but very important for all of us. How do I understand and identify that the person needs help? I need very practical answer. How will I, like, I have many family members, people have people working in their office. How do I identify that yes, this person needs mental health, mental health? So what are the parameters to understand who needs mental health? Over to you, Energy. Sorry, how should I call you? Aryongji. Yes, you may need to unmute, please. You may need to unmute, please. You are muted. Please unmute. Now
Okay,
speak. Thank
pardon me. I couldn't hear your last questions.
you. Okay,
So,
no worries, no worries.
mm,
I'm just asking you this.
mhm,
How do I identify that a person needs mental health? Mental help.
mhm,
What are the characteristic traits of a person who needs mental help? How to identify?
mm. Uh, when I met the many different patients or clients, so I returned to the ancient yogic wisdoms. So we have Panchakosha. It is a great and scientific method to analyze people. So everyone has different bodies and their own different histories, and their surrounding is different. So because of that, we need to understand the people one by one. So individual is important, but we have something in common, that is everyone has 5 koshas, panchakosha. So
Yes.
in my idea, in panchakosha, the pranayama is important, and pranamaya kosha is important. Pranamaya has it has 5 different things. I use managing the pranas, and then I try to combine communicate their own 5 siddhas, 5 koshas. So I think mental health, in Korea we have a joke. It is, there are two kinds of patients. One group is persons who go to the hospital. The other group is patients who doesn't go to hospital. So it means everyone has their own problems. So disease, we say disease and disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. I thought mental health should be our 5 siddhas in order, harmoniously and balanced. At that time, we can keep mental health. If they are divided, fragmented, and they cannot harmony. If someone had stressed, they can have eating disorder, and then they can have skin problems. They had heart breathing, and their breathing speed different changes. So they cannot evaluate, they cannot judge their everyday life's events properly. So it is
Thank you.
systematically effective. So
Perfect. Thank you.
for me,
So,
mental health
Aryong,
is
yes,
everything
yes.
should be in order.
So Aryongji mentioned that in those 5 shields, if all 5 of them are in harmony, the same thing in a different language, Dr. Shishir also mentioned that harmony is must. And she said that when I asked her how to identify who needs mental help, she replied, everybody. She replied that
Oh,
there are 2 kinds of patients, some who goes to hospital and some who don't. And because everybody may have gone through some or the other traumatic experiences life, as Bell also mentioned that we have different childhood, and even if the childhood was fine, probably our processing of it may not be fine, but and still we consider some inputs from there. And now the question comes, once we identify, let's say that if a person has stress, the identification is his eating may have disorder, skin disorder, heart, breathing. These things will directly get impacted by if you have some stress in you. Dr. Shishir, would you like to throw some light on how to identify? Yes, all of us needs help, but let me put it this way: how to identify who needs more and immediate help? Is there any way to identify who needs help?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vikrant. So, first of all, I would like to add a couple of more my inputs on the previous speaker's thought because they are very enlightening. So, if I may, can I do that?
Yes, in minimum words, and then come to my question also. Yes.
Yes, please. Thank you. So, Ms. Bell had said about the conception and the progeny thereon. So, she's very right in saying that, and that is why you see the basic idea of marriage is to beget a proper child, and the child how is formed, and what are the mental states of child that is formed long before the child is born. that is really mentioned in the Ayurveda in quite detail, and that is why the whole the Garbhani Paricharya, where what the thought processes of father and mother are, how much they are in love, what time, what are the mental states when they are going for to beget a child. So those things are very important to have a proper Chetana, or consciousness entering the womb, because Ayurveda has said, Shukra Shonitam Garbhashastham Atma Prakriti Vikas Samuchitam Garbh iti uchate. So when sperm and ova combine and later on the Chetana, Tam Chetana Avasthitam. So then Chetana enters the womb. What type of Chetana will enter the womb will depend upon a lot of things. There are Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, and Bij qualities. You can say what are the type of sperm, what are the type of ova, what are the qualities of them, what are the qualities of the womb, whether there is any congenital deformity or not. So all of these Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, and Bij will determine what type of progeny will have. So the later stages of manifestations of Manasik Vikar is there, that will come under Janmajat Sanskar, right? Or you can say acquired sanskar as well. So there is
Yes.
some janmajat and there is acquired. So very difficult to change the inherent ones.
Mhm.
You can change the acquired ones, right? Now, coming to one more point about the identification of the manasic diseases. For that, you have to understand the three doshas, that is the sattva, raja, and or three gunas, I should say. The sattva, raj, and tam. The raj and tam are considered as manasic doshas, and they have their own qualities. Like, for example, raja people will have more anger, more jealousy kind of inputs, right? The tamasic person will have a lot of violent activities. So those are the kinds of thought processes that will have more in the rajaguna. Those are the kind of thought processes that will have in a tamaguna. It is a
Mhm.
physician's quality to identify who is suffering from what kind of involvement of these gunas, or these doshas, I should say. Sattva is considered as a pure form. It's not a dosh, but it is a gun of the mental state. The
Mhm.
higher the quality of the sattva in a person, the better, and or I should say, the lesser the person needs any medical
Mhm.
attention. The more the
Okay.
quality of the raja and the tama, though that person needs the
Thank you.
um, yeah.
So,
And to
Dr. Yes, yes.
okay, please go
So,
ahead.
Dr. Shishir mentioned that to identify whether how much that person needs mental help is, see if he has sadguna heavy, he will be peacefully and happy. But the lesser peace, the lesser happiness, the more irritation you see in the behavior of the person, no, he is way against his basic nature, because basic nature of everybody is peace and happiness. And as he said, satguna sampurna. He also mentioned the importance of garbhani paricharya, which is very important in identification of right kind, attracting the right kind of soul to for the conception. So that's amazing point that you raised. Now the question comes, once we identify it, now we need to help. What are practical methods to help? I'll come to Bell. Miss Bell, I know this person needs mental help. Fine. Now, what should I do as a common person? Yes, we can take that person to the expert. But before taking to the expert, how can spirituality or any other modality which can be used by me as a common person to help initially to a person who needs mental help? I need very practical tips to be executed from tomorrow. First, two tips every person. Yes, ba.
Yes, thank you, Vikran. And actually, I think as a common person, if we don't have any expertise in anything, the first thing we can do as a human being is to listening. Is to listen to the person. Because if we observe, let's say our friend or our colleague or our family member, is not enjoying life, is not joyful, and seems to have an anxiety or any kind of stress, I think we can empathically um, open up and start to ask, like, how are you doing, but in a very very open, just like we open our heart to really have a deep listening, which is not easy, because most of the time we just say how are you doing, and then we don't need to wait for the person to answer. But if we are really present, we offer our 100% presence, body, mind, spirit, everything, to listen to the person, or just to be there for 5-10 minutes. I feel I have seen that is a profound connection, and it makes the person who is suffering from this mental health, whether he or she knows that they're doing that, but they feel that someone cares for them. And I think this is the probably easy to say, not so easy to do, but it's a very practical way. As a human being, anyone can do that, as long as we want to open our heart to help someone. So that is the first thing. Another one, which is also nice to do, is music. For me, it's like, if I see my child is a little bit of like anxious, or feeling angry or anything, then I can turn on the music, because the music can change the vibration of the whole surrounding, including the person in there. They might not even know that we are helping them, but it's actually helping them. So
Thank
of
you.
course,
Yes, two ideas that Belgi mentioned is, first is listening. As they say, hearing is healing actually. So for that we need to give time, and she said attentive listening with 100% involvement. And second is music, because we all are vibrations. We are made up of quark. Quark is just vibrations. So when we sit near to ourselves, it may be healing. Perfect. These two things can be done. Now I'll come to Ibeji. Ibeji, what can be done?
It's a good question. I think I know it's can't be simplified as a tips, but of course I'm in a complete agreement with Belchan. So for me, a lot of therapeutic approaches in method of spiritual therapies. Recently you see that mindfulness and cognitive therapies, and that's working in a better way in this kind of conditions. And more or less, my background is as a yoga. So I definitely say be active. Either it is meditative steps or maybe breathing practices, or you can be simply doing asanas, which is possibly everybody can do. So these are the, I think, easiest step. And more than that, seek help. If these kind of conditions, the person is seeking help, that I think very easily can be given a solution for the persons. So far I stick to being active. That is the better tips.
So many tips he gave, that when you are physically active, you become mentally active also, because
Exactly.
mind body are connected. If you are physically dull, it will impact on your mind also. And many of the research has really proven, if you do asanas, it helps you to reduce the stress. He also
Absolutely.
mentioned the importance of cognitive behavioral therapy, where you identify the root cause of that
True.
problem. What is the thought behind that
Yeah.
behavior? And if you alter the thought, the behavior will start getting altered. Breathing, other things, he breathing was also as a method he suggested. So rhythmic breathing. So now we'll come to Aryongji. Aryongji, what do you think are the tips you would like to give to our audience? How can we help each other? You may need to unmute, please. Still it is muted. Please unmute. Aryongji, you may need to unmute.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry. So I think prana is another language. Sometimes this is my experience at the hospital, mental hospital and prison. I met a North Korean refugee. So they are so shy, they didn't talk, they didn't speak out, but I could feel their sorrow in their side, in their bodies. I also I felt my emotion is also moving, trembling. I felt that. So, and this corona pandemic is one good example, and it gives us a way to talk with people, to speak frankly and honestly. So many people, most of people has self pride. They are strong pride, so they don't want to say I'm poor. I lost the job. I'm abandoned. I'm isolated. They don't want to say that. But in the COVID pandemic state, most all the people all over the world experienced that kind of things in the beginning of COVID. So someone didn't have any income for 2 months or 3 months. So we could speak frankly. It is a good chance to speak honest. So and then I ask to be honest their own mind. So that the good way is to be honest their mind is to be honest their body. Whenever I do asanas and breathings, after one asana, I ask, how do you feel? So if you feel pain, it hurts, that asana is not good for you. So like that, I try to lead them to speak out honestly. So, and then I try to talk with them in the same eye levels. I try to listen to them in their place, and I ask questions constantly. How do you feel that? How do you feel that? After Savasana, how do you feel that? After some asanas, how do you feel that? So, and then we could keep deep in conversations.
Thank you.
So
Thank
that
you.
is my
Thank
way.
you. So she beautifully said that accept the fear and the problem, speak about it, and as a help, what we can do is start asking empathetic, supportive, encouraging questions so that another person may feel like speaking more rather than being judging and making opinion about that person. That person will withdraw. Dr. Shishir, practical minimum words, one or two tips. How can we help? First.
Okay, first of all, faith, surrender, and love in the
Wow.
Supreme. So that is the first and foremost.
Yes.
Second, since I am into marmas, I will tell you some of the marma points, energy points that we used
Yes.
for
Yes.
such patients, and to very good effect worldwide, and especially during the COVID times, a lot of people suffering
Mm.
from that. So I'm just
Yes.
going to describe shortly or briefly and name them, what I teach people. So starting with the here, there is a marma which is called as the Apanga marm. So I ask the people to just very gently do the stimulation with their fingertips, and like there's an intermittent, very gentle pressure while trying to focus your energy on the fingertip. Just on the outer canthus, approximately one finger breadth behind, there's a kind of depression. So around that point, we can place the finger, close the eyes, and do this. Then go towards the sthapni, and here just hold it. Try to chant some mantra, whatever mantra you know, or whomsoever you have faith in. You have to keep that faith in your mind and try to focus it on your fingertips, the energy, and transfer that energy on this point. And then go towards the highest chakra side, which is the Adipati Marm. So just
Mm.
place with 5 fingers here, gently touch and stimulate couple of
Mm.
minutes. Then go back towards the back of the ear,
Mm.
and then right side and left side of the shoulder, gentle pressure with the help of 2 fingers. Then the next one is the hip grip, that is the in between the 2 fingers, approximately 2 finger breadth away.
Mm.
So with the help of thumb, you can just place like this. Then
Mm.
last one is the Talabada. So this is
Mm.
a kind of sequence that I generally tell. So keep doing it like this, and I also do here. go this back, then you can do this one. It hardly takes 10 minutes. Then Chipra, then Talhriday. So intermittent stimulation, same that breath in and out,
Thank
and
you.
gentle
Thank you.
focus.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Shishir. I know there must be lots of many such tips from all of you that can benefit. But in the interest of time, let's conclude our today's discussion. Dear friends from over the world, friends, we tried to understand what is mental health. And we had guests Dr. Shishir, Dr. Aryong, uh, Ms. Bell, and Mr. Ibe. And we discussed that mental health is disturbance of the equilibrium, as Dr. Shishir said, that it is when doshas come to manifest, when the equilibrium, the harmony is disturbed between consciousness, sense, body, and mind. And that reflects in tissues also. And marm is the tissue forming elements of the body, so this disharmony also gets reflected in that also. And the reason behind this disharmony, or maybe it may start from the womb only, because child, like Bell said, child like a sponge absorbs the emotions of the mother. Every emotion will be absorbed and it will come as an automatic thought to the child in the future. It may be automatic positive or negative thought, or the thought like world is not safe, and then they will start attracting those situations in life which are threatening situations. And as eBay also mentioned, that my concept and their concept, when there is a big gap, it creates stress. This concept may be about religion, how smart I am, or in anything. And for that, you may reach a guru who can set the perspective again correct. And then we had Aryongji. She said that the five koshas, five cells, shields also have to be in harmony with each other. Everybody needs mental health, she said. Whether you want to go to the doctor or not, that's a choice. But everybody, in some or the other proportion, at some or the other time, needs mental health. And when this stress comes, it may start reflecting on your skin, your eating disorders, heartbeats, and breathing, and many such things. Then, how to identify it? Then, in order to understand, in order to promote this, even Garvadi Paricharya, Dr. Shishir said, is very important. He mentioned the importance of Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, or Beach in order to attract the right kind of soul to take birth. And a lot of elaboration is done in Ayurveda about it. And then how to identify whether a person needs more mental help. Then Dr. Shishir said, the yardstick of life is peace and happiness. If you are lesser in peace and happiness, you need help, period. No discussions. And if you don't have peace and happiness, you need lots of help. So it's the basic difference. And I guess this is what Aryongji was saying when she was saying that everybody needs help. Then how to help? Then Bell said two things do. Start listening, because hearing is healing. With open heart, non-judgmental, 100% attention, give time and attention. Second is music may also help, because we all are vibrations. Ebeji said that go for mindfulness practice. Go for cognitive behavioral therapy. Change the thought process that reflects in the behavior. Behavior will automatically change, because deep rooted in behavior, there is a thought. Be active physically, it will lead to mental activity. Breathe rhythmic. And as he said, seek help. Don't worry, because everybody needs help. Even Arjuna needed help and Krishna appeared. So when you need help, Guru will appear, as happened in Ibeji's life also. And then Aryongji, she mentioned that hold that fear. Don't avoid it. It will strengthen it. Hold it, talk about it. She has dealt with the refugees of North Korea. She said, speak about it. And when somebody is speaking to you, don't put yourself at the higher pedestal. Be eye to eye contact. Be empathetic. Don't forget to ask supportive questions, so that the person will encourage to speak all the more, rather than judging that person. And then Dr. Shishir said, have faith. People who have some faith, surrender to the God, they generally have more cushion against all the problems in life. So have faith in any higher entity or concept, whatever you call, maybe God or anything else. And then he gave us many marma points also. Apang marma, he said, and such a beautiful technique he taught us. I'm sure that all people from different parts of the world will be benefited by this discussion. Thank you very much, respected guest, to be here with us today. Thank you, Dr. Shishir. Thank you, Ibeji. Thank you, Aryongji. And thank you, Belji. At the end, actually, I started pronouncing your name correctly, I guess, Aryongji. Thank you
My
very
name
much.
is Ivy.
IB. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
Thank
no,
you
no.
for
Marmat helped me to say sorry.
No worries. No worries.
thank you for inviting and giving us the
Thank
honor.
you.
Thank you for inviting
Thank
us.
you,
Thank
Doctor.
you so much, Dr.
Your
Vikram.
conclusion is better
Our
than
next
our
dance performance is
conversation.
from Lokayan Kala Kendra Ujjain. It's a beautiful performance on Peacock Rajasthani dance guided by Ms. Pragya Gadwal. The artists in this dance performance includes Ritika Bhavsar, Ketna Menon, Diya Ramlani, Anisha Agarwal, Neha Riskar. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the dance performance from Lokayan Kala Kendra.
Namaskar. I welcome you all on United Consciousness Conclave 2021-22 organized by United Global. We, the students of Lokayan Kala Kendra from Ujjain, India, are going to perform a folk dance named Moruda, choreographed by Mrs. Pragya Gadwal. The performers of the dance are Diya Ramlani, Ritika Bhavsar, Anisha Agrawal, Neha Baviskar, and me, Ketna Menon. Let's enjoy the performance.
गुजरे
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Lokayan Kala Kendra for her beautiful performance. Thank you so much.
The ensemble of Russian folk instruments Nizhgorodsky Loshkari was created in 1978 by the honored art worker of the USSR, Ivan Labuza, at school number 168 in the city of Nizhny Novgorod. The ensemble has existed for 43 years. Since then, 8 generations of students have graduated from the ensemble. The mission of the ensemble is to preserve Russian folk music traditions, to develop love for Russian folk culture, and to watch children play Russian folk instruments, which are quite unique and historical. At the performances, children are dressed in folk festive clothes. The ensemble performs Russian folk historical motives, funny folk songs. Through its history, the ensemble has been a multiple winner of international music competitions and has performed in Germany, France, Italy, Czech Republic, Poland, and China. In the video, you can see the newest lineup of the ensemble.
I welcome you on United Consciousness Conclave 2021, organized by United Consciousness Global.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Maxim from Russia and their choir for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and giving such a beautiful performance. Thank you so much. I feel highly pleasured in inviting and introducing our next guest from Mauritius, Brahmakumari Dr. Sayukta Bhuvan Ramasara. She was Associate Professor at Mahatma Gandhi Institute. She did her studies from Queen Elizabeth College, Mauritius and Banaras Hindu University. Presently, she is teaching Raja Yoga meditation at the Brahmakumari's World Spiritual University, St. Paul. She is providing spiritual and educational services in the countries like Mauritius, India, Kenya, Cameroon, Malaysia, Central African Republic, Thailand, Rwanda, Singapore and many others. She was awarded with Bharat Gaurav Award in 2015 for her services in academic, humanitarian and spiritual field. She presented many research papers on variety of subjects at national and international level, authored few books and published several research-based articles in national and international journals and magazines. Her interest areas include spirituality, education, Indian philosophy, Indian literature, Indian studies, public speaking, teaching, Indian classical music, theatre and stagecraft, writing and yoga. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Brahma Kumari Dr. Sanyukta.
Namaste and Om Shanti from Mauritius to all our divine brothers and sisters worldwide. Warm welcome to a lotus flower, okay, and warm welcome to all of you to Mauritius. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Indian High Commission in Mauritius and my sincere thanks to respected brother Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomarji and his spiritually dynamic and vibrant team for giving this soul the diamond opportunity to connect to this harmonized synergy of united consciousness of spiritually enlightened souls. My dear brothers and sisters, as we know, meditation is an inner spiritual journey of self-discovery, rather rediscovery of oneself. If in prayer we ask from God, in meditation we converse with God and we listen to Him. We listen to His godly directions as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad, through the most powerful language. Yes, the communication between the soul and the Supreme Soul, a very powerful language is used, the eloquent language, the language of silence. So we are all Arjunas in the battlefield of this life, and God is here to give us His godly directions. We are presently at the confluence age, which is also known as the most auspicious elevated time in the history of mankind, where the sun is setting to the old world of Kali Yuga, and it is the dawn of the new world, the golden age, Satyug or Ramraj. More than ever, my dear brothers and sisters, more than ever, now is the time for all the souls in the world to go back to our roots, to go back once again to the inner source of peace and happiness, to be grounded and at the same time be connected to our source, the Supreme Soul, Paramatma. Today, we'll have a practical experience of Raj Yoga meditation, which is known to be the ancient most meditation technique of Bharat. But first of all, let's have a brief glimpse of what is Raj Yoga. Raja in Hindi is a Hindi word and it means a king. And Yoga comes from the Sanskrit root word yuj, which means connection of the soul and the Supreme Soul. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, Raj Yoga is the supreme yoga through which the soul becomes a Raja, that is the master of all the physical senses and also the subtle senses, that is the mind, the intellect, and the sanskar. Sanskar, that is our deep-rooted personality traits. So, it is very important to know and remember who am I, or as all the scriptures mention, Ko Aham. What is my real identity? Why we said remember? Remember because we have forgotten who we really are. Remember because we have been in a stage of body consciousness for almost 63 births, and it is due to the effect of body consciousness that all souls are trapped in the grip of vices such as lust, greed, anger, attachment, ego, fear, laziness, and the big progeny of all the vices. We are human beings, yes, not human doings. So let's be soul conscious. Let's be, and not merely action conscious. Let's be karma yogis. We are yogis in action. Karma yogi is being in the awareness of soul consciousness and God consciousness while performing actions. So now is the time, brothers and sisters, to live a lotus-like life and be soul conscious. And also very important, we are talking about united consciousness, one being. So the main thing is to see others also as a pure divine soul, not only as a physical human being. A soul, the vision should be to see a soul with the original core virtues of peace, purity, power, love, truth, knowledge, and bliss. This pure vision of myself and others, brothers and sisters, will eventually lead us to a united consciousness, which is the fundamental ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world is one family. The seed of this genealogical tree being God, Paramatma, the Supreme Soul Himself, and branches are the religions merging from that same tree. Hence our spiritual DNA is the same. This is one consciousness. And soul consciousness takes us higher into the realm of God consciousness. Bhagavad Gita calls it the stage of Man Mana Bhava. Mamekam Sharanam Braja. That is, remember me and surrender to me, God says. The stage of surrender, again, Bhagavad Gita speaks of Nashto Moha Smriti Labdha, where we become free from all the karmic bondages and regain our original nature of the soul, which is freedom. Before starting the meditation, my dear brothers and sisters, another point which is worth mentioning is that God speaks in the Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Abhyutthanam Madharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyaham Paritranaaya sadhunam vinashaya च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय sambhavami yuge yuge. Dear brothers and sisters, this is a promise of God to us, His divine children. And God Paramatma, the Supreme One, undoubtedly fulfill His promise of being here when there is complete adharma, ignorance, and irreligiousness. My dear brothers and sisters, just ponder for a while, just ponder. Haven't we already reached the peak time of adharma? Just think. So the message is to my dear brothers and sisters, the good news is God, Bhagwan, or in French we say Dieu, Ishwar, Allah, Jehovah, He whom we have been calling out for many births by different names, has fulfilled His promise and He is now with us. He is on this earth. God has already come. One of the proof is one may observe that all major events have been happening in these last 100 years. Be it scientific inventions, atomic power, technology, a rise in human talents, among others. This is because God, the source of all powers and virtues Himself, is here now. That's why we say now or never. Abhi nahi to kabhi nahi. He has come to liberate us and fulfill all our wishes. And deep down we have one common wish, that of regaining our spiritual nature of peace and happiness, the spirit of one world, one family, and one consciousness. And this is the life mission of the Brahma Kumaris. To reach there, the university promotes the four main subjects, namely knowledge, swadhyay, yoga, meditation, dharana, inculcation of divine virtues, and swaseva and vishwaseva. Swaseva, self, we serve ourselves, and also world service to the whole mankind through our body, mind, wealth, words, everything. And now, let us have a sweet experience of meditation, which can be practiced by everyone, especially at the early morning hours, which is usually between 2 and 5, which is also known as Brahma Muhurt, or as we call it here, Amrita Vela, the time of nectar. We can practice it during daytime, whenever we have some free time, in the evening, and whilst being in action too. And also pure vegetarian sattvic food is recommended for a higher consciousness. So dear brothers and sisters, let's meditate for world peace through the power of visualization. So I sit comfortably, completely relaxed. I consciously withdraw my attention from the outer world and focus on myself. I focus on the middle of my forehead, the divine seat of I, the soul in this body. Let me dive deeper into my inner serenity. And now I'm aware I'm a pure inner being of light, a soul. This body is my amazing chariot, and I'm the wise charioteer. This body is my pure temple. I am a healthy soul in a healthy body. मैं स्वस्थ आत्मा हूँ. The pure divine energy of the soul is transforming coronavirus into the power of karuna. Karuna, that is compassion for all. And Omicron is taking us closer to Om. Om, that is God consciousness. And Om, soul consciousness. Staying deep within, I allow my thoughts to slow down. And I'm fully aware that I am a peaceful soul, a pure soul, a knowledgeful soul, a blissful soul. I stabilize myself in this pure original consciousness. And now I connect to the Supreme Soul, the incorporeal divine light, the ever pure one, the ever true one, who's my father, my mother, my friend, my companion, my teacher, and also my Satguru, my supreme guide. I meet him in his supreme abode, the incorporeal world, Param Dham, Shanti Dham, the world of silence, Brahmalok, the soul world, Nirvan Dham, which is also my home, my sweet home. My Supreme Father surrounds me with the light of unconditional love, purity, and happiness. And I begin to radiate peace and love to my family, my country. And these pure vibrations travel even further to my world family. And now, in front of me, I visualize the blue planet, the blue pearl. It is my world. I allow my heart and soul to be unlimited. I hear, I hear my world crying for peace, especially my brothers and sisters who are going through the fear of the pandemic and diseases, who are going through the untimely death. I hear them crying for love and happiness, especially those who are going through emotional trauma, conflicts, and loneliness. I also hear the elements of nature crying out for purity, the five elements, my constant companions: earth, water, fire, air, and space, are striving for freedom to regain their original purity. And I, the soul, united with the Supreme Soul, I look upon my world with mercy, with divine love and compassion. I send my good wishes and pure feelings to all the 8 billion souls, all my brothers and sisters of the 5 continents. I serve the world, my world, through loving and divine vibrations of peace, of unconditional love, of forgiveness, of gratitude and happiness. And now, gradually, I see my world getting healed through the divine godly energy. The pure vibrations are reaching the souls through me, a godly instrument. My Father, Parampita Paramatma, and myself combined, we are blessing our world, which is now filled with true love, respect, peace, and joy, restoring the elevated, united consciousness, one world, one family, and one being. Om Shanti. My dear brothers and sisters, daily practice of Raj Yoga meditation and daily study of Raj Yoga knowledge given to us by God Himself will bless us with mukti, that is freedom from both gross and subtle bondages, and deep-rooted vices, and will lead us to Jivan Mukti, that is liberation in this life and the forward journey. Om Shanti, and thank you for your kind attention. Namaste ji.
Namaste,
Namaste.
respected Dr. Sunayakta ji. Thank you very much for your presence. And you taught us the language of silence when
Yes.
God listens to us. And you rightly quoted Mamekam Sharnam Vraja. So let's surrender our will to divine will, and let Corona, in your words, be the times when we understand the Karuna for each other, and Omicron leads us towards Om. Thank you for such a beautiful Raj Yoga meditation. I'm sure all people from different parts of the world will be benefited by this. Thank you very much for your presence and your
Om
blessings.
Shanti. Namaste ji.
Namaste.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Brahma Kumari Dr. Sayukta Bowen Ramasara for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
This shloka means, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all diseases, may everyone see goodness and auspiciousness in everything, may none be unhappy or distressed. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. I'm highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. I believe that this is not the end, but the beginning of our journeys. The journeys towards the noble cause of removing the 14 divides rooted in human race and promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence. Firstly, I thank the God for blessing us all in this conclave to take our first step towards the noble mission. I thank European Yoga Federation, Swami Suryananda Saraswati Ji, Ms. Amy Blesio, Ms. Emilia, Sarah, Danielia, Christine, and also thank the Spiritual Council in Africa. I owe my heartfelt thanks to our highly esteemed chief guest, Shri Narendra Singh Tomar Ji, Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare in Government of India, for sparing his valuable time from his busy schedule for this event. I am very grateful to our speakers Dr. Ishwar V. Basavardi and Dr. Ramaswamy Balasubramaniam for sharing their insightful views. I am thankful to our esteemed panelists Ms. Beltarain, Dr. Shishir Prasad, Ms. Aryong Choi Hantke and Mr. Ebe Sharif. I extend my thanks to our yoga experts Mr. Andrei Lubanov and meditation experts Dr. Brahmakumari Sanyukta Boban. I am thankful to our performers Ms. Pragya Garwal, Mr. Maxim and Play for Change musical group. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Team Project Surf USA, Shri Rajesh Rabindranath, Ms. Pavitra Srinivasan, Ms. Madhurika Arvind, Ms. Rashmi Kashi, Dr. Prasad Akavu, Dr. Vijay Reddy, Ms. Gina Suresh, Mr. Karthik Palamalai, Mr. K.L. Alexander, Mr. Venkat Sriram Lalu, Ms. Deepthi Nair, Ms. Avneet Bad, Mr. Suresh, Mr. Devaraju, Ms. Deepa Arun. I thank Team Project Surf Bharat, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Dr. Shweta Tomar, Aditi Meghna Mausan Prachi, Mr. J.S. Juneja, Dr. Paramji Juneja, Rishi Vishalji Arnav, Aditya Ashwin, Rati Dharmendra Ji Uday, Pooja Ji Bharti Ji, Dipti Ji, Amrish Ji, Mrinalini Ji, Khushbu Ji, Jimmy Ji, Mr. Sanjay Rajput, Ms. Simran Reel and Ms. Simran Raghavani. I am very much thankful to our wonderful audience and all the visible and invisible sources blessing us.